Yes, guys. How you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. How are you? I hope you're all happily healthy, doing the things you love, and those you have to do them with. It's game day. It is game day. Earlier stream, I was going to do this stream at like 7 o'clock, but I think I'm now going to do it. Well, I don't think I am. I'm now going to do it now. And we're going to possibly still go live at 7 p.m. or maybe move that back to like 7:30 or whatever else. But either way, it's game day. How you feeling? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. That 8% of Sean coming out. I want to maybe turn up on time. Maybe. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Listen, I've got a little bit of mate, Box Kev, what are you doing to me, mate? Dude, you're gonna go broke. You're gonna go broke, mate. What I don't know what you do for a living. You might be a gazillionaire. And I hope you are. If you are, congratulations. But my man, at some point you're gonna look at your monthly bill to Google and go, what was I doing? What was I doing? I hope I haven't caught you. I hope I haven't caught you with your middle-aged prostate situation. What time is it over in San Francisco? It's early, right? It must be like 6 a.m. or something. I don't know. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed, my man. Thank you very much indeed, Boxkev. I hope you're okay, buddy. Really appreciate it. You got to stop there, mate. Listen, you're gonna end up like my man Chudini, who he can only take his missus. I jest about this, but I always say you can only take your missus down to Pizza Express because you spent all your money supporting content creators. I appreciate you, mate. Thank you very much, my man. Box Kev, absolute legend, buddy. Absolute legend. Hope you're okay. Hope everyone else is okay. We got some interesting stuff. The reason I went live is because there is a video that was dropped from Tottenham's chief revenue officer at Tottenham Hotspur, whose name I believe is Ryan Norris. He's an American geezer, and I want to shout out to my man Chad, who sent me this tweet from I don't know where it's from. I'm not sure what it's. I think it's unofficial. It says unofficial partner on it. And they're going to talk about it. He's talking about the stadium, and he's talking about the reasons why they're not doing stadium naming rights anymore, and or they're not looking for stadium naming rights. And of course, it always brings me back to my little long room for my man, a certain man by Daniel Levy. Come back, Daniel. I might play a song. I've got the guitar out a minute ago. I might play a little song for Daniel Levy. See if he's listening. But we got to listen to. What's this? Sean, love your chats. You always make me laugh. Appreciate that, mate. I try to. Please share your love with Stel. He's killing my daily vibe. Life is bad enough without that. Okay, I didn't see that. What's he done? Where is he? Where is he daily? That he doesn't do daily shows anywhere, does he? Listen, Stel's just Stel's his own guy. He's a content creator. He's very good content creator. Gets a lot of people to listen to him. You know, people. He's got a bit of there's a lot of sycophants of Stel. You know, I haven't always seen eye to eye to him, but I work with him now, and you know, we're sort of mending bridges in that regard. And I think he offers a lot of value. I don't always agree with his takes on Tottenham. You know, I think a lot of people want to lean into the negative at all times, and I'm not into that. Like, obviously, the negative around Tottenham is very real right now, but you know, I try to, I don't know, sort of paper over the cracks with some. I try and be a bit more light-hearted about it. You know, a bit more light-hearted about it. Talking about light-hearted, I'd give my light heart to this guy's sister. Hello, blow my cannon. Hello, blow my cannon. With the best looking sister in the game. I'm gonna keep chirping on your sister, mate. I'm gonna keep chirping on your sister. until you tell me I've got a date with her, bro. Until you tell me I've got a date with her. You know what I mean? I'm on the weight loss program, so give me about 2-3 months. I'll get the chiseled looks back. get the looks like I used to have, and then maybe there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. But I think I've got that video somewhere. Have I got it somewhere? Have I got it somewhere? I don't know if I do. But I tell you what, when I see that picture of you, mate.
When you start hearing people like that say things like that, that gives me a fucking hard on.
She's a good-looking man. She's a good-looking girl. Oh, blow my cannon. I don't know. He said it's his sister. He said I said if it's your missus, I'll lay off. But when it's your sister, game's the game, guys. Game's got a game. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're off. We are off. Oh dear, oh dear. You know what I would do? You know what I would do, guys? If I got a date with her and I messed it up, it would be the same song that I want to sing for my man Daniel Levy. You know, whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. I just want you back for good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Whenever I'm wrong, just tell me the song and I'll sing it. You'll be right and understood. Oh. Yeah, baby! I'm going to be playing that song later on about Daniel Levy. We want him back, and I want that bird back in my life, even though I've never had it on. I had no booze, nothing. I've had one cider. It's still the same cider. Football Inc. will testify to this. Football Inc. will testify to this. I had one cider, and I said, guys, I found another cider. I can't believe it. I found another cider knocking around, so I'm still on my first. Still on my first. Listen, I might have to play Don't Look Back in Anger instead for that lady. She's gonna, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is. You can let her know from me. You can let her know from me. Sure, we need a Nigerian version. Whatever I said, whatever I did not mean it. What are we doing? What are we doing here? We started on a wrong and I wasn't even expecting to get going today, but I'm going to be playing that song later on. I've had no booze, nothing apart from the 2 ciders and the 3 magnums and whatever else is cracky-lacking. You know what I mean, guys? You know what I mean? You want the Welsh version as well? It's proper, innit? Proper. Have you seen that back for good? Have you seen it? To go towards a guitar tune. Is it out of, it might be out of tune. It might be out of tune. Hang about. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let's try it again, shall we? Let's try it again. Let's try it from the get-go. I guess now it's time for me to give up. I feel it's time. I got a picture of you beside me. Daniel Levy. I got your lipstick mark still on your coffee cup. Oh yeah. Whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. I just want Levy back for good. Anyway, I wasn't doing that. I feel like I am drunk now. Feel like I'm drunk. We're going. We are. What is this? What is this? Let's get into some transfer news, views, and clues, guys. Let's get into some transfer news, views, and European Cup, Sean. Yeah, the European Cup is on tonight, guys. It's a big old night. Lots of teams playing. There's about 13 teams that can overtake us in the Champions League. There's about 13 teams that can overtake us. No, it's not that many, is it? Daniel Levy, yeah. Although the super chats are flying in. Super chats are flying in. Maybe I need to play a little bit more music more often. Gee whiz. Gee whiz. We'll come and say hello to them in a minute. Guys, let's get into it though. Smash the like button for me if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe. if you don't enjoy the content, smash the like anyway. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Ta-ta-ta-ta! Notification button should be squeezed. And comments should be dropped. We are also, of course, today sponsored by OK Jersey. And you know by now what OK Jersey are capable of. Have you looked at their website? Have you seen the amount of Jeremy Jacquets that they do? Some lovely stuff. Like some real nice, like clobber with the full gear, the full gamut, with the badges. Lovely colours. Go a size up. And normally you get 8% off if you use code Sean at checkout with OK Jersey. But until the end of the transfer window, I think it's the 1st of February, actually, you get 15% off using code Sean15, SEAN 15. 15% off checkout. You can't ask better than that. The numbers are good. The quality's good. The value's good. The delivery time is great. And, ratatata, in a tough time, Mr. Stelios is in the house. Hello, Stel. Good to see you, mate. How you doing? Is that Stel or is that someone pretending to be Stel? Like this one is pretending to be Henry Wrong. Sean is the guy who reported Mateta any reliant. Listen, what I would say is I think I might have. Oh, what's going on with my lip? My lips look a little bit swollen. No, I didn't kiss the wrong girl. What is that? Have I bit my lip? Oh, what's happened there? It looks a little bit red and swollen. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. I'm the real Henry Wrong. There you go. I'm the real Henry Wrong. You think, Sean, you reckon THFCK could get in at Spurs on deadline day? I don't know, mate. You look like the part. I've got to be honest. You do look like the part. You've got the haircut. You've certainly got a footballer's haircut. Listen, but no idea what standard you are, mate. But listen, most standards would be okay right now. What is going on at Tottenham Hotspur? Well, I'll tell you what's going on, right? First and foremost, the news is out that Tottenham are apparently finally going to move for Akliouche. Again, what I would say, though, ladies and gentlemen, is every single time the transfer news, views, and clues rumour mill gets going, and with that, we've got to do a transfer rumour mill sing-song. The rumour mill, it's time we went there to speculate, gesticulate on who will go where. What was I going to say? Sorry, I've just looked at a message I've just got. Every single time, right? If you look listening to the Graham Baileys, the Dean Jones, the Team Talks, the Give Me Sports, the Court Offsides, the people that I sort of generally make my living off of repeating, none of that stuff ever comes true. And what's happened in the last 2 weeks or last two years, really, since Johan Lang's been here, is that there's been nothing. There's been nothing in the world of real news links. It's a lot of like fabrication and speculation. And then the Ornstein bombers drop, and even they don't always come off. Right, it hasn't come off with Robertson. It hasn't come off with, it didn't come off with Eze. Didn't come off with Gibbs White. But at least you know that there was sort of truth to it, right? Savio, there was truth to these things. They just didn't happen. But I'm actually kind of taking that as a little bit of a positive right now, because for all intents and purposes, over the last couple of years, whoever has been linked by all of these people, you can basically chalk them off the list as not being real, because the ones that do pop up come out of nowhere. No one was talking about Robertson, and he was there. No one was talking about Kudus, and it happened. No one was talking about Sousa, and it took place. No one was talking about Gallagher, really. I know that there was links out for the last couple of years, but it was not like imminent. There was none of that stuff, and then it suddenly happened, and Ornstein's the guy to go for. Now, Ornstein hasn't said anything about Mateta. He hasn't said anything about Akliouche either. But according to reports from places outside of England, that Tottenham apparently are stepping up their interest right now for Mateta and for Akliouche. And that to me is, if it's true, that's good. I like both of the players. I definitely have concerns about both of them for what it's worth, for different reasons. But in terms of what we have, what we need, is there value in doing it anyway? 100%. But they're not perfect signings. I'll talk to you about why that is in a minute. And And like I say, if it doesn't happen, then at least it gives me something to talk about with you for the next hour. Keep you all occupied. Keep my mind occupied. If it does happen, great, because they're players that I think are needle movers relative to what we have. But then, to be honest, most people are needle movers relative to what we have. Maybe you are, K, even you, THFCK. Levy had you biting your lip too hard. I miss him so much. I want you back for good. Mateta needs surgery, says Ash. We'll deal with that, cross that bridge at the end of the season, mate. You know, give him an injection. Shut up, Jean-Philippe. Shut up, JP. Have one of these. Click. And we'll get you through to the end of the season. Computer TV 2025. What's her name? Says, hey, Shawnee, we're a massive fan of you here in Japan. Appreciate that. Can we get a big it's game? You certainly can. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's game day! There you go. There you go. I do requests. Mark By saying Mateta is terrible. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Is he terrible? I don't think he's terrible. I certainly preferred Mateta all day long to Richarlison. Next season, are we saying ones and zeros? 1 if you want Mateta, 0 if you'd rather have Richarlison. Forget about the alternatives. That's the option. Mateta 1, Richarlison 0 to play alongside Solanke. 1s and 0s. You know what we're doing here. We know what we're doing. Sean, my request is you do the transfer news with song and guitar. All right, listen, I've just pulled my guitar out off the wall for the first time in like about a year and a half. So let me refamiliarize myself with the notes and the plucking, and I'll do some serenading. I'll serenade you. This is what I'll do every day. I'll tell you a transfer story. I'll even make it rhyme, and I'll even bring in a chorus. How about that? That's content's got a content. I'll create some content, musical content. No AI necessary. I won't use Suno. I'll just use, this guy. Kay wants Mateta. Kixie's saying he's average. That wasn't the question, because he's better than, in my opinion, he's better than Richarlison. Ones. Mateta. There's not a single person I'm seeing apart from Thunder Road rates, and Paul Man's Bridge. If your name was if you happen to be working at Chelsea under Rosinia, he'd be saying, listen, I need you to be under my management team because your surname is Man and it's Bridge. And so what we do is we bridge men. We find the bridge for men, Paul. And that's how we build a team here, is by building bridges for men to connect. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that one before. Big up to you. But why you want Richarlison, I've got no idea. Kez wants Mateta. Gary, my man, Gazar, what's crack-a-lacking? He wants Mateta all day long. By the way, listen, I'm not saying anything about anything, but there's a certain person, if you know, you know, and maybe there's 1961 reasons why this guy might, I don't know a thing or two about a thing or two. And he was suggesting to me that, and to Johnny today, that maybe Tottenham are expecting not just uno, but possibly duo players to come through the door at Tottenham before the end of the weekend. And this is a guy who knows a thing or two about a thing or two. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, then you better get to know, in the words of the illustrious man, Mr. Box Office. Where is Boxy? I haven't seen him forever. I bet Sexy Sean was that donut who pulled out the guitar around campfires to serenade Gap Year students in Bali and Australia back in the day. Absolutely. I wasn't even back in the day. It wasn't even back in the day. Actually, it was. The last time I went and stayed in a hostel and pulled out a guitar and sung a couple of songs, I was probably 28, 27, something like that. I'm not going to lie. I was cringe as like guilty. Sensational. Sensationale. Sensationale. 100%. You got to do what you got to do. And that's what I said to you guys before, right? Everybody and their brother, like, there's always someone who knows how to bang out a Wonderwall song, right? Or an Oasis number. What you really need in this day and age, you know, like how football has changed. You know, football's gone from zonal and possession-based. Now the zones don't work anymore because the man-to-man press changed the game, and now everyone's rushing towards bigger, stronger, faster, and then eventually the pendulum will swing back. Well, in the world of schmoozing women around campfires in Bali and Australia, everyone knows the guitar. And it's a mobile tool, right? Everyone can stick a guitar, or even if you go heavy and you break a couple of strings, a 6-string guitar can become a 4-string ukulele if you know what you're doing. You can always find a way to get it done. You can always find a way. But really, the real game changer, I would say in 2026, the real game changer is if you can play the piano. Because everyone's got a laptop now, all you need is one of those like USB MIDI plug-in keyboards, and you start doing a little bit of like James Blunt. No one can do that. No one can do that. It's the new man-to-man press. It's the set piece FC of game. If you are someone who's 18 years old and you haven't yet got an instrument under your belt, screw the piano. Screw the guitar. Everyone can do the guitar. If you really want to be a little bit like niche, though, like proper value, now you can't just pick this up and do it like bottom level stuff. You have to, if you really want to excel with this, you have to go to like grade 8 level waffle. If you can go and get a harmonica and you can play it like ta, then that, like, nothing's stopping you. You could be on an airplane and you start going, and like the entire airplane, even the pilot's going to come out and go, "Oh my God, let that guy cook. Let him cook, bro." Like, if you could do that, then you're onto one. You're straight on it. But you can't just be someone who knows how to do the basic chords. You have to be able to riff. You have to be able to riff. Anyway. Saxophone's hard graft, though. It's a heavy thing. You're not going to get it through many metal detectors. You know, it's difficult to take on the plane. Bit of a pain in the ass. Big Country Chris doesn't want any more filler content. Big Country Chris wants only the paper talk. Well, I've kind of given you the paper talk, mate. I've kind of given you the paper talk. The paper talk is that Tottenham are interested in Mateta and Akliouche. And listen, I'm on board it. But I want to get you another story out. I want to show you this, right? We'll come back to the transfer stuff. This is an interesting video. I want to say big up to my man Chad for bringing it up to me. Let me see if you can hear this, right? This actually was shared by World of Hotspur, who is the biggest Levy outer. I can't believe I've ever shared a thing before. He's done this. He's retweeted this from Return of the Shelf. But this is an interesting video. 6 minutes long, so I'll stop it halfway through. But this is the Chief Revenue Officer at Tottenham, Ryan Norris. And I think it's quite interesting. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little listen.
Sale period, and it's still unnamed. Why is no one buying the Tottenham Stadium?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think there's a bit of misconception out there as well, because realistically,
let me know if you can hear
we've not actually focused on selling the naming rights for a number of years now. I'd say probably, since Todd Klein left. It's still a conversation that we're willing to have, but we went through an exercise where we realized, one, the value of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it being called that, is incredibly valuable, especially when you have the likes of Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, etc., coming to the stadium.
Where was the first time that you heard someone talking about there's an opportunity cost between having branded naming rights and not having them? I know all you Johnny come latelys I know all you Johnny come latelys in the chat now, but they now talk about Levy-nomics. Connor is the main guy, even though I used to be the guy. I used to be the guy that you guys will all come to for the financial results. I used to be that guy. Never got any of it wrong. But now Connor somehow has taken that thing on. You never heard Connor talking about the branded versus unbranded version of no naming rights. That was this guy. Don't forget where you heard it first. And this man is talking about this stuff too. This guy's talking about this stuff too. You know, sometimes I don't want to be the guy that said, I told you so, but sometimes you have to remind people because people forget who it was that said stuff. And then, you know, you get a lot of people claiming Johnny come latelys on the story. This guy was the guy that said, all you guys are saying we need the naming rights. There's a value. It's an intangible and an unquantifiable value, but there is a value in the brand distribution of being known as the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when it's plastered all over the FIFAs, the EA Sports, the rugby games, the NFL games, all of that stuff. There's value to it. And my man, Ryan Norris, is reminding us of the reason why we don't have the naming rights. And it's not that much of a priority anymore. Let's carry on.
The second piece is we've kind of revisioned the way that we're monetizing the stadium. And this was with the launch of our collective. So we've talked a lot about this in the more recent months. It's actually taking a bit of a model that's more familiar and similar to myself, as I actually worked at Hard Rock Stadium where we implemented the same thing, as well as MetLife Stadium. So it's a bit more common in the US. We've obviously launched with our first partner with Sports Illustrated, and then we'll close 3 other positions. But if you look at the value that we'll drive through those 4 partners, it would far exceed any naming rights partner, certainly in the UK, but would contend also for more than any other naming rights partner globally, at least across Europe. We'll still take a name, but it's maybe not the primary responsibility or focus.
Okay, so Allianz is interesting. So Allianz came into...
Before we get into Allianz, so what you're saying there is they've got the first done with Sports Illustrated, right? Again, I brought this to you months and months and months ago, that we're doing it. It's a weird way of doing it. It's a very weird way of doing it, but it is traditionally. So like the Sports Illustrated have access to the West Stand. So they own the rights to the West Stand. No, sorry, the East Stand. They own the rights to the East Stand. We don't have a South Stand naming partner. We haven't got a North Stand, or we haven't got a West Stand yet. Those things are on the horizon, and that's what this guy Ryan is saying that Tottenham want to do. You want to get they want to get all 4 stadium naming rights done, and then after that, they will eventually get a proper naming rights partner for the whole stadium. To me, what I find weird about this whole thing is that, generally speaking, you start at the top because most of these partners will have like protection clauses in the contract that essentially mean that they're industry specific and they get the full control, the full gamut of the naming rights for that particular industry. So I don't know what industry you would put Sports Illustrated in. It's not the same company as it used to be. It's not just swimwear models on a magazine like it was in the 80s and 90s. Now they're doing other things. I think they do tickets for sports events and all sorts of stuff. But if it might be easier to start with selling the stadiums because it's lower numbers, but what you end up doing, let's say that there's not a massive industry for the West Stand, that's for the East Stand, that's fine. If media and ticketing, whatever it is that particular business does now. But if they wanted to go and get, let's say, a financial partner to buy the South Stand naming rights, and it was called the JP Morgan Stand, for example, or the Google Stand was the West Stand, or the Amazon Stand was the North Stand, something like that. Then in a nutshell, it basically means that when you then go and get the full naming rights partner, you're not going to be able to get, in that instance, someone who works in commerce, someone who works in technology, someone who works in finance, and someone who works in media to be the overarching naming rights partner for the entire stadium, because they would want the other 4 partners would have said, I want exclusivity from our industry. It's the same reason why we probably don't have a cryptocurrency partner, because we already have the, I forget the name of them off the top of my head, Kraken. We already have the Kraken partnership. Now, Kraken might end up buying a stadium or buying a stand or whatever, but it's why you wouldn't be able to get, say, BitConnect, or why you wouldn't be able to get Binance, or why you wouldn't be able to get one of the other cryptocurrencies, because Kraken will already have exclusivity in that particular industry. So it's an interesting setup. It's an interesting method of doing it. And this guy's saying it happens all the time in America. But for me, I just think the easier way of doing it would be if the biggest number, the highest number you're going to get is from the overarching stadium one, then why don't you pick that partner first and have the entire suite of potential industries to go after? And then after that, go and get the 4 minor partners. But they've gone a different way. Anyway, let's carry on.
Looked at the London Stadium, got close to that.
The primary responsibility or focus.
Okay, so Allianz is interesting. So Allianz looked at the London Stadium, got close to that. They looked at Spurs and they ended up at Twickenham. One of the stories was price. You are outpricing it. This talks to just the weather around Daniel Levy was always about price. And I wonder if that's changed and whether or not you're trying to educate the sponsorship market that this is a post-Levy period, because he came with a lot of baggage, good and bad. And as a Spurs fan, there's a lot that I think he did well, and a lot of people got onto him, and it became a cliche, became a sort of lightning rod. Now you've got Vinay in there, and you've got a different set on at the top of the executive. Is there a job to be done about we're different now? You're not dealing with Daniel Levy. You are dealing with a different group of people because you're all relatively new to the roles, and the perception of Spurs in the commercial marketplace has to shift. What do you think? A fair reading?
Possibly. I would say one, like you, I have a lot of respect for Daniel, and I think he's done a tremendous job for the football club, especially commercially. And if you look over the course of time, I mean, I think his contributions are invaluable. If you go back to your question specifically, I don't necessarily think that there needs to be a reset, because if you look, one, I've been here now almost 4 years, so 3.5 years. So that commercial shift has already started to change. I think one of the things that was holding, I guess, Tottenham back, or even the commercial team, which I was a part of when Todd was here, and selling the naming rights, was a couple things. One, the stadium would opened. We went into COVID. And then, there was kind of this grand gesture, if you will, where we were telling the market that we were going to have concerts, we were going to have the NFL, we were going to have F1, we were going to have all these things that had never existed before, certainly across the UK, but also in Europe. And I think it was a lot of those, well, let's see if it actually happens, right? Let's see if you actually get a license to host 30 events per year, right? Now, what we're finding in the market is we're starting to become looking at not just a football venue, but a global entertainment destination, right? And an entertainment venue that delivers audiences across a diverse level of demographics.
See, that's going to be something that's going to trigger a lot of you, right? That's going to trigger so many people, because and you go on the website and you see, the football stadium or football being played at the stadium is the third thing behind concerts and whatever the other thing was, right? Does it matter if it generates more revenue? I've never understood why people have a problem. Obviously, park all of the frustration with the activity on the transfers for right now, because I hear you and all that stuff. But in terms of like just the commercial revenue number, and just the reality of the situation is that they have succeeded in turning it in, getting Haringey Council to lift the number. And now they have the ability to present themselves as a multi-force, a multi-event, a multi-industry type of conversation. That opens you up to a far bigger audience than people that are just interested in football. The amount of people that do come to Tottenham, with the interest of watching the NFL, and they haven't necessarily picked a football team yet. Again, don't know how you qualify that. Have no idea how you quantify it. In the world of marketing, for those of you that understand small business marketing, for example, I used to have to pitch the value of a lead to a dentist, right? And if it ended up being that a dentist would cost you $300, $500, whatever, to be able to get a patient through the door, they would say, yeah, but the initial sales value of that new patient is a $200 clean. Yeah, but that's the lifetime value is the conversation. What is the lifetime value of a customer? What is the lifetime value of a Tottenham fan? And how do they find Tottenham? Well, those things are difficult to quantify, and the attribution of that value is difficult. But that's where these people are going to be spinning that yarn towards various brands, right? And saying, if you just pick a football stadium to be your brand partner, then you're only going to get one type of demographic. Whereas if you pick a stadium like Tottenham that also has Beyonce, also has a rap star, also has NFL, also has rugby, also has Formula One, It's a global audience, and the distribution of potential value for those brands seeing that name, the Google Arena, the Amazon, the Amex, whatever it might be, is far broader. And that's where the complexity comes in, is convincing these brands that it's worth the extra 3 or 4 million quid a year, because you're accessing basically everybody. Like, there's very few people in the world that aren't interested in some form of music, some form of sport, either rugby, football, NFL, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a global audience as well. So that's where the value conversation comes in, but that's where the justification has to be different. So it's over to him to convince these people.
And this is what has kind of changed the paradigm, right? Because now I can confidently go into a meeting around the naming rights and say, we're not just football. We have almost a full second season of events. Whereas 2 to 3 years ago, that value wasn't necessarily there, and it now is. In fact, in the last 6 months, I've got more inquiries, maybe 6 to 9 months, more inquiries about stadium naming rights than we did in the 2 years prior. Has the price shifted? It certainly has, right? But the value, I think, has only increased, because now we actually have evidence and proof that we can deliver events, and it's not just a football stadium.
There's a sort of newness premium to stadiums, I always think. A stadium's interesting for that. There is that American, UK, European angle to it, and it's a much more mature market in the States, as you know, and that there's the new stadium argument that it's, people don't like, brands don't want to come into old stadiums, and you've got the battle over the name, which is Allianz Twickenham's problem. We'll leave that.
Sure.
But there is a time, there's a window on newness in the stadium market, particularly in London, as new things appear on the market.
It's another thing that I've been saying to you guys, is that I think that's the reason why now Tottenham Hotspur might be looking for these things now, because the novelty of Tottenham being the best stadium in the world, that doesn't last forever. Barcelona have opened their new stadium. Real Madrid, one of those two. Barcelona has, Real Madrid will be, or vice versa. Real Madrid has, Barcelona will be. Newcastle are going to have theirs. Everton have got theirs. I don't think Everton's is that special. It looks nice, but it doesn't have all of the shiny objects. Chelsea are about to eventually going to move into Earl's Court, and so once the glimmer of the new stadium disappears. Remember, Arsenal had it for 8 years until there was the. I've got something on my nose. Until that glimmer, and they didn't get on board any of these things. But at some point. This is the other difficulty in the complexity. At some point, Tottenham Stadium is no longer the best in the league anymore. At some point, the shimmer has gone off, right? All the glitters isn't gold, and so you want to have benefited from the newness, you want to have benefited from the novelty, but then you want to hook someone in before they realise that it's only going to be 5 years or whatever, until there's other stadiums that are just as competitive in that regard and can do all of the things that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium does, and the things that we didn't think of when we were building ours. Because imitation is what's going to come next. And so that is the other thing that is part of the conversation. Stel's in the house. We're going to bring Stel in. Big up to you, Stel. How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Good, mate. Good. Just, I don't know what we've done here. How do I get back to the... hang on a second. How do I bring that back up? Let's try that again. Just finishing off the end of this video. And then we can have a chat, mate. Just give me 2 seconds. There's only a minute left.
Tottenham Stadium. And I'm there on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it hugely. Let's say it's the best stadium in the country, but there will be a period where it won't be. So there is a window on that stadium naming rights. Do you agree with that in terms of whether or not you're going to, if there isn't a sort of a big ticket, big check being written by someone, then if it's not happened so far, it won't happen?
I don't necessarily agree, because if you look, there's evidence again. When we, Todd and I both worked in Miami, and we did the Hard Rock deal together. That was an 11th generation naming rights, right? If you look at the new stadium that used to be Mercedes-Benz, the existing stadium that used to be Mercedes-Benz, but now Caesars in New Orleans, that's a second name, right? So I do think that it's much easier. I guess this is a better way to provide an answer. I'd rather have a first name on a stadium maybe 6, 7, 8 years into it being built, rather than having to try to sell a second name after 10 years. Right? I think that is a bit more difficult, because it starts from the beginning. It's known as XYZ Stadium. And then in 10 years, you got to now find that second generation. And the newness by that point has certainly worn off, and everyone will still refer to it as whatever that previous name is. So I don't think that there's necessarily a window where it's not going to happen. I think it's a matter of realistically, you got to find the right partner. I know that we've said that a lot, but you truly do, right? I don't think anyone wants this to be, and I won't say a name to disparage any type of brands, but there are certain categories and brands that I think would make fans like yourself coming on Sunday be like, I don't really want to go here to watch this at
the crypto stadium.
Right? I'm not going to say that, but yeah, as an example.
Yeah, or maybe something to do with Aramco or one of those other things where you get politics involved. Big up, Stel. Did you watch? I don't know how much of it you caught, mate. Interesting insight from our guy Ryan Norris. What was your take on that?
It makes sense. Strike whilst the iron's hot. When you're the talk of the town, when everyone's looking at you, when everyone's saying how great your stadium is and the benefits of it and what can be done with it. Eventually, we're going to get caught up. United will, at some point, build a new stadium. Arsenal will expand their stadium. Newcastle, they're going to build a new one. I know Leicester, they've got plans. So Chelsea, are they going to just sit there and watch all the other big London clubs with new stadiums whilst they sit there in their 42,000 seat stadium?
They're trying to get the permission on Earls Court, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're gonna lose our advantage at some point. The only thing we've got is London is still a draw. It's still the financial capital of the UK. It is still a powerhouse. People like to be associated with London, so that's always going to be our advantage. But yeah, the sooner we get the deal, the better. The easier as well. I agree with the video.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is it's all about, like, there's lots of things that, like, there's the value proposition that's fading as time goes on. How long do you stay the biggest and the best and the newest and all that stuff? There's a time limit of value on that. At the same time, there's a value on how much you can get, how much juice you can get out of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Does everybody and it's difficult, as I said, it's difficult to quantify whether or not the American market finds Tottenham and chooses Tottenham as their new team because they discovered them through, watching the NFL or playing FIFA or NFL, EA, NFL, all that sort of thing. Has that run its course? Is there really that much tangible value from Tottenham perspective by having the boyfriends of girls that are going to the Beyonce concerts or whatever, knowing and going, oh, this is a nice stadium, and the boxing? I got no idea how you quantify it. There's certainly value in it, but how you structure that in a presentation to say, well, this is what we've benefited, but now we're ready to let someone else benefit from it, and therefore we're worth 25 million quid a year or more or less, and how other brands would sit there and see value in it. I got no idea. I don't know how it works, but
I think it comes down to how much people talk about you. So Barcelona are building their stadium now, and we know it's going to be called the Spotify because they've already got the deal in place.
Yeah.
But Barcelona's always talked about. Barcelona always comes up in football conversation. It's almost as if when you're talking tactics and style of play, how often does someone refer to, we don't play like Barcelona? So they're Real Madrid are the same. Arsenal, when they built their stadium, Wenger did a good job keeping them in the top four. So they maintained a relevance in world football, and they were still winning FA Cup. So they were talked about. We're not talked about. When we are talked about, it's out of anger, frustration, civil war in the club, fans just losing the plot. We're not the conversation that probably sponsors are attracted to. Whereas if the stadium was built when Poch first joined and we did what we did under Poch, I think we would have had a sponsor by now because we were the talk of the town. We had some of the best players in Europe. We were talked about the right way. Right now, if you're a sponsor, we could be in the Championship next season, right? So is that the kind of who's looking at you to market your brand?
Well, that's another part of the conversation, isn't it? 100%, right? Not so much. Well, obviously, yeah. Like if there were conversations happening today, people would bake in and go, "Well, I'm not sure. I want to wait and see how you get on until in the summer." But yeah, I think you're right. Like it's one thing to be the sponsor of, like, the Everton Stadium is sponsored by Hill Dickinson. right? And they're a law firm. I think they're a global law firm, but like where that value proposition comes across, I don't get it, because they're like a commercial law firm. Like I don't like. No one knows who Hill Dickinson. Like, I'm sure you didn't know. I didn't know who they were. I'm sure the 1,000 people that are watching here probably didn't know who Hill Dickinson were, unless you happen to work in law. And you'd think that the natural value proposition of having a branded stadium naming rights deal is that you're talking directly to the consumer. So Amazon would make sense, Google, right? So these sorts of things where it's obviously like business, like everyone who sees it knows what you're doing, and there's some sort of latent conversion, latent value comes out of it. But Hill Dickinson, how many people that watch Everton on the TV or that go to Everton, how many people are going to ever need to know about
So I've just Googled the Hill Dickinson deal is £6 million per year plus add-ons. So in the world of naming rights deals, that's a really low priced deal that Everton have accepted. So that explains why it's Hill Dickinson and not Google or Tesla or, you know.
Well, do you think that Hill Dickinson are going to get enough additional business out of their normal client base because they think that there's some attributable value to a naming a stadium that's worth? Maybe it is. I've got no idea how big their business is. I'm sure if they're a global commercial law firm, I'm sure they are. Sure, they're raking in a lot of money, and I'm sure there's some sort of like, you know, credence, some credibility that's given to the fact that this business is spoken about on, you know, on Premier League games. But in terms of the direct value to the consumer knowing the Hill Dickinson, there's none. I can't think of anything.
Well, maybe there's a lot of Scousers that go to court and they need legal advice, and it just the crime rates are higher in Merseyside, so therefore it makes sense to team up with Everton football.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I have to find out if they do criminal law as well. I don't know. Yeah, very, very, very strange. Anyway, mate, listen, other news, as I said, the video is titled about Mateta. Apparently, Tottenham are finally making a move on some players we know about, we've heard of. Mateta and Akliouche. I mean, what are we doing? Do you think this is? I know you're not someone who buys into the rumours, but
yeah. I don't think I believe no business will be done. If we beat Man City, that's it. The window's shut. We might last minute Robertson deal if all the other dominoes fall in place. If we lose to Man City or draw and it gets toxic, I expect a massive panic signing for an attacker on Monday. And that's how I think it's going to play out. I don't think we're going to bring in anyone of that is of levels to this club, unless something goes really badly wrong in the Man City game. But even then, that'll be last minute panic buy, and I don't personally see it.
Colin Mawani, though, mate. Listen, I know you begged me you didn't beg me. You respectfully asked for an apology for me doing this to you for the last 3 months on Spurs.
I want an apology from every single person on the Spurs 5, including Sava, for no reason whatsoever. I want one. I just want one.
Look, but the fact is that from other reports today, we're tearing up his loan deal. That must mean that we're about to bring someone in, right?
I don't know.
We wouldn't be that stupid that we've only got 12 fit players in our squad. One of them is Mawani, and we're about to tear up the loan deal to let him go to Juve unless we have someone coming in. Surely.
Yeah, but the question is, do we bring in a like for like, or do we get rid of Brennan Johnson, 19 goals last season, and bring in Conor Gallagher, who sits in the midfield passing it left and right, which is a complete different profile of player that we've left. So if we get rid of Mawani, who was meant to be the Solanke, interim, who hasn't scored anything in the league, and then we bring in, I don't know, a left back, well then why get rid of Mawani?
It has to be a forward. Like I'm saying, it's the logic here that if we're going to tear that up, there is a forward coming in. Is that would you agree that makes it wouldn't make sense to do it? I mean, that
makes logic. That doesn't mean we're going to do that. We've already seen that we got rid of an attacker for a number 8. So I don't know. Sean, I genuinely don't know. This window doesn't make sense to me. None of it makes sense. This is the most dysfunctional approach to, at least when Conte was here, we needed something a bit more attacking in that midfield, and we got Bentancur and Kulu. You think, okay, at least when we signed Porro January a few years ago, we needed someone at that right back because it was a mess.
Yeah.
You know, last January, you could say, you know, they weren't good signings, but we needed attackers. They brought in Mathys Tel. You think, all right, at least that's an attacker for an attacking team. We had an injury crisis at the back. They brought in Dragusin. It kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This window makes no sense to me. None.
Yeah.
We haven't signed one player that we desperately need for a position for what's going wrong at the with our squad at the moment.
Has there been any signings across the Premier League that have happened relatively quickly that you're sitting there going, Spurs could have got that if we tried, and Spurs should have got that? Like, I don't know, Tammy Abraham. Would you have taken Tammy Abraham? He's gone to Villa today or yesterday.
See, he's the kind of player that might do well at Villa, but would come to Spurs and absolutely flop. He would come to Spurs and not do anything that we need, but he could go to a Villa and it might work out for him. It's a different setup.
Why'd you say that?
Because I think Villa are extremely good at profiling the right player for Unai Emery. The right profile of player that he can work with and integrate and develop. Whereas I don't believe we do that with our managers, so to speak. I mean, look, we signed Kudus, good, but doesn't score. We signed Xavi Simons. He's still not quite got going. We signed Paulinho, who was, in my opinion, our best signing, and he was benched for like a month. We signed.
Paulinho was a brilliant signing. All these tacticos on Twitter that tell me he's dog shit. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, he's good. He's very good. But he was benched for a month. We also signed Moani, who's been a flop. We've then gone and signed Gallagher, who for me so far, I don't see how he lifts us. I don't see it. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he'll come good next.
I haven't seen it yet. I thought he's been absolutely anonymous and entirely irrelevant in the 2 games. Entirely irrelevant.
He's done nothing. He's done at Burnley. I sat there thinking, I don't know what you bring to the midfield that's any different to what I've seen.
And yet we're apparently about to let go of Bissouma, who, let's be honest, has been our best player in those 2 league games, or one of our best players in those 2 league games. Bissouma looks like a new signing to me. You know, I don't think we should get any hopes up about Bissouma because we know what he is, right? He was a good player. He's put his feet up, whatever. He's dropped his standards, but he's come back into the team. And he was our best player. I think he was our best midfielder versus him or Gallagher. I thought he was the better one in the game against Burnley, and I thought he was better in the game before as well.
If they move Bissouma on, it's because of his attitude. Because the only reason he's playing is because we're desperate. Otherwise, he'd still be ostracised. And also, maybe the club, like Brennan Johnson, they smell that there's value still there to be had from the deal, and for him not to end up going for a really low price. So. Sean, this whole transfer window, I'm just it's exactly what I expected. It's what I predicted. I knew this reboot, this ENIC reboot, wasn't gonna do anything this window. I just felt it all along. Maybe the summer. Maybe the summer's going to be
on Sunday to the City game. To the City game.
I'm going to the game, but I'm not going to the protest. I refuse to go to any more protests until Thomas Frank is sacked, because I'm sick to death of going to games where we've got the most dysfunctional fan base. They all want to boo Frank out. We want Frank out. You're getting sacked in the morning, but none of them want to acknowledge that we went through a 30-man process to identify Frank as the manager. So therefore, if you want Frank out, why don't you want the people who ran the process to also be out? Because it's their process that identified the manager you want out. So why not one chant of Vinay out, Lange out, none of that. It's just Frank out, which I don't disagree, Frank out, but it can't just be that. But that's what our fans are doing. Our fans are only going in on Frank. So I'm not going to.
What's
I'm
the
not going
logic
to
there,
more
right?
protest until Frank's gone and the fans actually start saying something about Vinay and Lange and the others.
What do you think the logic is that online, for sure, I've said this a million times, online on Twitter, it was always Levy out, ENIC out. in channels like yours used to be.
We still are.
No, I know. I mean, like the channel that you had, Tottenham away, massively that way. I used to get absolute pelters all day long for having a different opinion about that. I never had a problem with people saying ENIC, right? I only ever thought that Daniel Levy got a hard time. That was my defense. I was like, I don't think Daniel Levy is anywhere near as bad as people thought he is. But I used to have a hard time. The protests always were when you were doing them, and then when Change for Tottenham started doing them, they were always like very, 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 very small numbers. And then the big one that happened when it was 2,000 people, that was ENIC out, Levy out, but it was mainly Levy out. Levy leaves, nothing changes. It gets worse. Let's be honest, it's got worse. It looks like that no one knows what they're doing anymore. At least Daniel Levy, whatever you thought, and I'll always acknowledge the weaknesses of Daniel Levy still. I'll always acknowledge, I've said it a million times, his negotiation style, he burnt bridges. Yeah. I'll always acknowledge the things that were shit about him. But on the other side, at least you know that he ran a ship. He was the captain of the ship. He's gone. It's got worse. And then the protest happens the other day. Didn't maybe not quite have quite as much maybe publicity as the one that got the big numbers, but it still got on TalkSport. It was still on BBC. It still had all of the YouTube channels supporting it, all the podcasts, Twitter still going mental, and then only 150 people turn up. Why? And also, and at the same time, 17,000 people that day chanted, "You're getting sacked in the morning" to Thomas Frank. Why is it that the fans suddenly, with the team arguably the same strength or weaker than it was, however you want to think of it, the team doing just as badly as it was at the same time last season when that other protest was successful, why is it that this time no one turned up?
It's like the Bermuda Triangle. You can't explain it. Just things happen and they keep happening, and there's no one's got an answer. I've got no idea, Sean. I genuinely don't know. It's why I'm not going to any more protests, because I've been going to them for 6 years, right? The club's got worse. So me not going won't change a damn thing. I will not change a damn thing. So people shouldn't worry about me going or not anymore. I have no influence in the direction of this football club.
Sure.
I just can't tolerate a fan base all turning on Frank, and that's it. Whereas I know Frank shouldn't be the Spurs manager, but he's not the only problem. We've got problems everywhere. Everything starts at the top. You know, they make the decisions that trickle down. They put the people in place that hire the people below them. They are influential in the recruitment process and the finances. And I just can't stomach standing there with 100 people.
Do you think there'll be more people this time?
No.
You don't?
No, sure. I don't, because it
So
depends. If we beat Frankfurt tonight, forget any big protest. If we lose to Frankfurt and we end up in a playoff, more games in February, yeah, you'll get an uptick, because everything. I'm a Spurs protest pro, right? I'm a veteran of this now. The result determined.
You're an OG, protest OG.
I'm an OG, right? I'm Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
I'm going to get one of those furry hats and a gold cane and go to the protest.
Better than that is right. Better than that, the Jew. What's the guy's name? The Jew.
The rabbi.
The rabbi. That's it.
Yeah,
the rabbi.
He's mad.
He did all sorts of damage. Just to be honest, him dancing around with his weird pigeon chest looked horrendous.
He got attention though. He got attention. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure it was the right attention personally.
Results drive. Yeah, results drive everything, Sean. Results drive everything. If you get a good result, fans are in a better mood. No. We don't need to protest. Let's go and cheer them on. If we lose, right, I've had enough. I've got to do something about it. There's an inconsistency with the fan base. Sean, if you were to ask fans, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Do you want a new ownership? Do you want them to sell up? If the majority said yes, well, they're doing nothing about it. If the majority said no, then it makes sense why there's no one going to the protest. Maybe they just wanted Levy out. Maybe our fans thought that actually, no, it's not Joe Lewis. It's not his family. It's all on Levy.
But
Maybe
hasn't 6 months proven that wasn't the case?
I know that. You know that. But our fans haven't got there yet. I hear very often we've got bigger issues than Frank. You know, I was listening to the Sunday supplement on Sky Sports. They had a debate on Tottenham. And they were talking about relegation, Frank, ENIC, transfers, the future. Are we really a Big Six club? It was a really good conversation. And they weren't all Frank in, Frank out, Levy in, Joe Lewis, Lange. It was a real mix of opinions. But the one thing that stood out is they all said, fundamentally, the way they're running the club is the problem with regards to the football results. So they know the ENIC ownership is an issue. Yeah. Which means our fans know it as well, because they're not even fans. They're just journalists. We know it because I hear it on every podcast, every YouTube channel. I read it in the comments on every show I go in. Yeah. So if we all know it, why are we going to the protest? It has to be emotionally driven. It has to be an emotion that's driving it then. But that's the only explanation I've got.
And I would argue, like I say, I always supported the protest. I didn't always support the end game necessarily, but I always say if you're not happy, protest, right? Always, whatever. And as much as I hate the people that don't stop oil or whatever it is, stop the oil thing. As much as I can't stand what they do to disrupt people's lives, I think that if they have a problem and they want to protest, I think it's the only way that you can do it, right? That's the kind of right that you have as a citizen in a democratic, where you have elected representation. I can't stand it, but the model is the model. And so therefore the only way to do it, even if you don't necessarily think that, you will end up with the ownership selling as a consequence, which I think is the reality. I've always said there's no evidence of any club's chairman or ownership selling their club at a depreciated price point relative to their asking price simply because the fans have had enough. They'll just distance themselves and walk away from fan-facing stuff, but they won't. These people are billionaires. They're not going to take 80 pence in the pound on valuation because you and me tell them to. Right? Never going to happen. However, it makes you feel better if you say that I'm not going to sit there and just take this bollocks. Stand like I'm not going to stand like be on my knees for you guys. So I would encourage everybody who's had enough, who's going to the game, as I did last time. Like, even if you don't think it's going to make a difference, you're going to the game anyway. What difference does it make if you just stand outside the stadium for 5 minutes so that there is everyone congregated to let the people know we're not happy? And because the alternative is 150 people. And this is what I said. I think that Vinay looks at that scenario and sees 150 people saying ENIC out and 17,000 people saying, Frank, you're getting sacked in the
100%. 100%.
And he's sitting there going, fucking's not on us. They're not focused on us right now, which maybe encourages this dithering and delaying in the window.
We kind of agree, because
we do agree. I agree with you entirely. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. I think you should go. I think you should go though, because you're not happy.
No.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do instead? You're going to go inside the stadium 5 minutes earlier.
Sure. Right. I've been to all the protests pretty much. Okay. The original protesters, before I got involved, they don't go to the protest anymore because they've accepted we're never going to get the numbers. We simply won't get the numbers. We need 10, 15, 20,000. That will shift the plate. We're never going to get it. Our fan base simply aren't interested. But they'll moan, they'll complain, they'll tell everyone, you should do this, you should do that, you should boycott, you should give up your season ticket, you should change your favourite colour, you should go and get a blood test, you should go and get a new driving. They'll tell you everything to do, but they don't do it themselves. I'm one of the only people who's actually practiced what I've preached.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I've done it. People said to me, stop going to games. I stopped going last year. I stopped going. Nothing changed. Right? So it doesn't, unless the whole club's prepared. We're also very disorganized, right? I don't want to, I'm not going to mention it, but there's a couple of major protests that happen in this country, and they give a good 6 months warning. And it gives time to build it up on social media, build up the momentum, get people on board, and make it a constant talking point. So for 6 months, everyone's talking, oh, that's coming. Oh, that's coming. Oh, they're going to do this. Oh,
which ones were they?
Not football protests, other protests in the country, but they build up to it. And with us, it's almost like, right, protest next week. I get it. You got to do it whilst the transfer window's open if you want to force the club to try and bring in some more players. But it's very hard to build up the momentum like that. It's very hard to get the numbers like that. I still don't think the protests are organised. I think they're better organised than before, but I still think it's lacking any collaboration with the Spurs Supporters Trust, who have no interest in protesting. They have no appetite for it, and they've got 20,000 members. Most biggest YouTube channels, bar one or two, they're not interested, but they'll talk about it. Enoch this, Lange this, Vinay that.
You mentioned before on Spurs Live, you like Chris Cowlin.
All of them.
I think Chris Cowlin. Someone
Chris
told
Cowlin,
me. Okay.
Abby Summers, Danny Kelly, Flav Bateman, the Fighting Cock. You've got the Athletic. You've got all of them. They want to bash Enoch, and they want to bash Vinay and Lange, and Nick, but none of them want to. So when you put them, I think it's difficult for Chris, right? Because
Chris is now affiliated as like the Spurs correspondent for the women's team, right? So he's obviously. I don't know. I've met Chris.
He does a podcast where where they blame the board, where they blame the recruitment, they blame Lange. The same things.
I know. Yeah, I've heard him say like you can. I've heard him always say to his guests, "You can say what you want," which is great. And by the way, I don't know Chris. I've met him once. I've got no idea how he.
He's been on Sport and called them out.
Okay, so then isn't that enough?
No, we need numbers. We need. He's never.
You really think if Chris Cowlin, for example, was to do what We Are Tottenham TV do, they've got similar sized channels, right? They're similar sized views. They're the number 1 and 2 in terms of the YouTube space. Ben and Sim obviously call out the ownership. You think if Chris did it would make a significant difference? Because I don't.
I believe if all the YouTubers united together and made it a joint thing, and if all the podcasters united together, we come from a much stronger place to galvanize a bigger protest. Because that's
150 people that were at the protest. I'd say 20 of them were YouTubers.
Yeah, but how many of them were the big channels?
I mean, I don't know if I'm not sure if there's correlation or causation here, mate. I genuinely think that the vast majority.
I'm giving you ideas.
But it's always been. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just chewing over with you. It's always been the case since I've been in YouTube from 4 years ago when I had 0 subscribers to now. I've always been like, I'll support the protest, but I don't necessarily subscribe to the notion. You've always been someone who's very much on the other side, right? You're completely opposite to me. You're like, protest.
Yeah.
The numbers were never that great. The numbers have never been that great. So I would just make the argument, for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't have the influence. But they're
all booing Frank in the stadium. The boos at Burnley away it was relentless.
Yeah, but that's not because of YouTubers. That's people that go to the game that are not happy with what they see on the pitch.
Right, but this is my point, Sean. They're blaming Frank. Okay, who hired Frank? Who told the fan base we've gone through this really intensive, carefully thought out process to identify Frank as our guy? So
I hear you on that.
If you want Frank out, then you want our process out as well, surely.
I hear you on that. I've got massive questions over who it was that identified the ticking boxes exercise of 30 candidates that Thomas Frank ticked more boxes than everybody else. I want to know what that exercise was. I want to know who built the exercise, who built the input factors, because if you put shit in, you get shit out. Massive concerns about that. And I'm concerned whether it's the same person that also identifies our playing options. In Rob McKenzie, no one talks about Rob McKenzie. This guy's head of scouting. Vinay gets Vinay gets the boot from some of us. Frank gets the boot from a lot of people. Johan Lang or Paratici gets the kick as well. No one mentions Rob McKenzie. He's the guy that's picking the scout. He's the guy that's doing the scouting, and he's the guy that takes it to Johan Lang, who says, "Johan Lang's got to do this, that, and the other, right? He's got to do women's team. He's got to do the youth team. He's got a lot of things on his plate. So Rob McKenzie's the guy who says, hi, Johan. Here are the 6 players that I rate. What do you think? And Johan Lang says, well, okay, well, I like this one, not so much that one. Let's bring Thomas Frank in. What do you think? No, yes, no, yes. But it all obviously starts with Rob McKenzie, yet no one talks about him. And I think that's something that we should be talking more about. But back to the point on the protest.
Sure, you're not wrong. But again, that's not what's happening. And this is my point. Like, my point is, all the anger from the fan base on match day in the stadium, home and away, is being directed at Frank.
Right.
Frank is getting the full backlash of what's going on. He's taking the whole abuse, hate, anger on his shoulders.
Right.
But yet, the same people that are going after Frank are the same people that know it's not just Frank. And
not necessarily, though.
By those same people, yet they don't want to call them out in the stadium. So I'm thinking, why am I protesting?
Not necessarily.
100 of us are going to call it all out.
No, because we're attributing what we discuss every day and what the same names, right? People like F. Sank, for example, I see you every day. Cantab, I see you every day. Matt Cox, every single day. Harmless Potato. You guys spent one Spurs King. I see you guys every single day.
Harmless Potato goes to the protest, to be fair to him.
No, sorry, I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not calling. I'm just saying that there's 1,200 people that are watching this right now. I would say that 600 of them, 700, maybe 800. I've got no idea. I see them on my channel. I see them on your channel. I see them on Spurs 5. I see them on Chris Cowlin, on Ricky Sachs. I see them on We Are Top. I see the same people, right? And so you have a certain amount of people that watch YouTube all day long that spend as much time talking, thinking, listening to Tottenham content as we're willing to put in of our time doing it. My concern is, let me ask this. It's important. Just quick answer, and then I'll get back to the point. In your experiences going to Tottenham, as someone that's been on YouTube for a long time, there's 60,000 people there. What is the most amount of people that have ever come up to you to say hi? On the time that it happened the most, what was it? 50 people, 10 people, 100 people? It certainly wasn't 10,000 people, right? It wasn't like you're walking around.
Probably around 20 max.
Okay, so it wasn't like you're fucking Taylor Swift walking into an environment, right? Ben and Sim, one of the biggest channels. Chris Cowlin, I don't know, but I've spent days with Ben and Sim. I would imagine maybe
Expressions gets the most attention if he turns up.
Okay, but it's Expressions oozing like a Taylor Swift. Does he get mobbed?
Yeah, he does. The youngsters mob him. The youngsters.
Okay, fair enough. I've never met Expressions oozing. My point is that I think that 60,000 people, the vast majority of people, haven't got a fucking clue who you are, who I am, who Ben and Sim are.
100%.
Right? And so therefore they don't watch YouTube. Oh, I'm not saying this to those listening. I'm not saying this in any kind of like flex. I'm saying this is like the anti-flex.
I think they listen to things
most people don't watch YouTube. Most people don't listen to podcasts. Most people aren't on Twitter. Most people that go to Tottenham, they dial into Tottenham on a Saturday morning and they dial out of Tottenham on a Saturday.
I disagree. So I've got family that go to Spurs and they don't watch my show. They don't watch your show, right? But I know other shows they watch.
Sure.
And the kind of shows they watch are more ones where you got Crouchy and Shearer talking Tottenham, or like the BBC do a podcast. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they do listen, but they prefer a different
professional expert stuff. Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. What I'm saying is
they do listen. They do listen.
But I'm saying that the disconnect here is that the YouTube audience that we have, that you have, that I have, that the bigger channels have in more proportion, that we're talking to a lot of the same people, and we're talking to people that aren't necessarily in England, aren't necessarily going to the games, but they love Tottenham to a point where they're listening to this content all day long whilst they're doing their day jobs.
Yeah, they love it.
What is the percentage of that sort of person? Not necessarily those that listen to me or you, but what is the percentage of the Tottenham stadium that is the sort of person that dials into Tottenham-related content, that's fan-based content, not.
Are you asking me how many people that watch our shows actually go to the games?
In a nutshell, basically, it's tiny.
I don't think it's a big number. I don't think
exactly. Right. So like we're therefore guilty of thinking that everybody in the stadium thinks the same way that people.
No, I'm not guilty, because I listen, Sean, See, I actually listen to a lot of other stuff, not because I want to listen to the content. I want to understand what they're thinking. A bit like politics, right? I know where I lie politically, but I listen to the others because I want to know what their argument is. I want to know what their view is.
Yeah.
So I do the same with Tottenham. And I hear it on every single platform, Sean. They are calling out the board. They are questioning Lange. Recruitment is probably the number one bugbear of every platform.
Sure.
But yet, when it's going tits up, Frank out, manager out.
What percentage of the 62,000 match-going fans listen to Tottenham content? Not necessarily mine or yours or anyone else's, but
all the people that sit around me, I've gotten to know them over the years. Must be about 30, 40 people. Hardly any of them watch my platform. I don't even think that I'm a YouTuber. They all moan about the squad and the recruitment. Every single one of them. It's the same thing every week when I go. So if you all know this, you all know what the problem is. Why are we all booing just Frank? Why are we putting all of the blame on Frank on a match day? I think it's because we can see him and it's an easy target. Just like we boo the players because we can see them, it's an easy target. I bet you if Vinay came on the pitch, I bet the chance would change. But then I say that, do you know, I'm contradicting myself actually, because I say that, but then we called Levy out. So maybe Sean, I really don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Let me put. I'm putting a four option poll out, right? So I want this. I do that all the time, by the way. I sit there, I've got a really strong point, and I go, well, actually, what I've just said makes my last point completely irrelevant.
I've just done that.
Real time confidence. I get it, I'm with you. Let me put this poll out. So if you go to the games and you protest, you go to the games, but you don't protest, don't go, but would protest, don't go, wouldn't. Don't go, but wouldn't. All right. Just want to see. I've done this poll before, and the numbers were quite extraordinarily. They were fascinating. So I want everyone to just participate in that because there's 1,200 people here right now, and
I think as a fan base, we should be saying Frank out. We should be saying Vinay out. We should be saying Enoch out. There should be no one escaping this. No, even some of the players need to be called out. No one should be getting away with it. But all I'm seeing and all I'm observing is the protests have shrunk and Frank is getting it left, right, and centre. But yet, that's not the conversation that's going on when it's not match day. Even when I go to the pub, Sean, I go to the pub. I'll never forget this. When we played Sunderland, the Sunderland fans somehow took over the Antwerp Arms. I don't know how they did it. They took over our pub. Flags everywhere. It was red and white shirts everywhere.
Mate, Geordies and Mackems, mate. They love a beer. They're not afraid to. They're nice people as well. Yeah, lovely, right?
They were brilliant. Right? We had a great chat with them, and we were talking about their club. You know, you must be so happy how well you're doing. They were talking about our club, and do you know what they all said to us? They all said, "Why did you sign that guy? Who on earth signed him?" They, as rivals, know that our recruitment is a bit shoddy. So I'm thinking, even the rivals know it. Our rival fans know it.
Let me ask you this, Tel. Would you do this? In fact, I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'll let you answer it. And then I've got to do. There's 11 super chats that I haven't done from the start of the show.
Super chats if you want.
I'll do that now. No, I think Danny Kiriakou is going to jump on, and I think someone else wants. I think Alex Box Office wants to come on as well. Big up to you, Box Kev. I've just done you, mate. But thank you very much, Box Kev. Absolutely legendary, mate. You're so generous, my man. Appreciate you so much. Tony says, I'm drinking beer and waiting for the game. Don't get too drunk, mate. You'll do the butler. You'll do the butler and end up being sloppy and slurry and saying things that you don't remember at the end of the game. And you wake up the next day with a horrible hangover and a feeling of nauseousness because you go, shit, what did I do? What did I say? What did I say? Big up to you, Tony. Appreciate you, mate. I'll see you later on for the watch long if you're going to spend it with me. Ian Anderson says, a super sticker from Super Chica, I always said there. From you, Ian. Thank you very much. Two for you, mate. Thank you very much indeed, buddy. Appreciate you, legend. Richest man says to go towards a guitar tuner. Yeah, I thought it was relatively in tune. It's the first time I picked it up in a long time, mate. I need to go and tune it up. I'm actually going to start doing some more football-related guitar songs. I think I'm going to change some lyrics and do a little bit of the old James Black stuff. I reckon it'd be fun. Big up to you, Rich, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Marzi, Tommy boy, how you doing, mate? He's gifted 1 Spurs Talk Show membership. Thank you very much. Very generous of you. If you did receive that, please say thank you to Marzi82. Big up to you, my man. Sunny as Life says, what did I tune into? Is this transfer news or music therapy? Yeah, listen, I don't know what was happening. I just started off on a wrong and then we went sideways. That's what we do. Big up to you, my man. I hope you're happy. Thank you, Sonny. Appreciate you, buddy. Sean Michael says, come here for the Mateta links and I fell in love instead. Listen, you know, that girl, my man, who is that? What's the guy's called? Blow my cannon. The best looking geezer I've seen in a profile pic, and I thought it was his girlfriend, but it's apparently his sister, and she's a ratatata, so I'll serenade her all day long. Destiny 5 says, he says, you're such a legend and last you'll never change. Big up to you, Destiny. Appreciate you, mate. Love you, man. Thanks so much. I'm bringing back the rabbit hole as well this week as well. Roy Vikens says, bet you got a lot of birds in the old days with that guitar, mate. You'd think so. not always. When I was in good shape, I used to get them, but not when the weight piled on. You know, I'm one of those guys who, like, you know, some people don't change. I changed violently from being a fat git to when I was in shape. I went from being like a decent looking fella to an absolute monstrosity. Big up to you, Roy. Big up to you, my man. Shay Bryant says, I reckon Mason Melia will be decent now he's joined. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's joined. He has joined the club, but I don't think he's actually part of the football club yet. I'm pretty sure I saw something. I think I saw Ali Gold saying that they're trying to like figure out the mechanism to bring him in gently or something. I don't know. He certainly won't be a part of our team this year. I'd imagine he's going on a loan next year as well. Big up to you, Shay. And Eamon O'Shea says, if the money raised goes to the football side of things, that's great. I think this is back from when we're talking about the watch that video. Yeah, but is the money going to the football side? Well, we don't know. We don't know. Danny Kiriaku's coming in. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's all gone off kilter already. Big up to you, Danny.
Stel, do you like my friend? Who's that, Stel?
Is that Dietrich, is it? Is that Dietrich?
Yeah, that's Dietrich.
I finally saw his face. Wow. Big up to you, Danny. Love that. I'm going to get that filter put on. Stel, I wanted to ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
So you're making a pretty strong point that the fans are going after the wrong person.
No, they're not going after the wrong person.
Or not all of the people that need to be gone after.
They should be going after everyone, not all on Frank. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If the 17,000 people in the stadium applauded the players and the manager after a disappointing result, but booed the ownership, saying, get out, leave, get out of our club, but they didn't go after Thomas Frank, if they appreciated what he's working with, the injuries that are, that haven't been resolved, do you think that would manifest into more of a union between the playing side of the football club, i.e. the manager, the coaches and the players and the fans, and the fact that we decided to go after Thomas Frank and the players, where the players are getting fights, getting scruffy, buffy, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Like, if the fans were venting their anger, you don't think so?
No, because a lot of the fans disagree that Frank's getting the best out of this squad. There's a divide in the fan base where some think Frank's doing the best he can, where the other half think no, Frank's doing a bad job with what he has got. So I think that in itself is a divide. We've got many divisions in the club and the team, Sean. It's not just one thing. There's multiple divisions within divisions, but ultimately, all roads lead back to the decision makers because they've created this whole situation. Frank should be doing better. The medical team should be doing better. Land should be doing better. Everyone should be doing better. But who's employed all these people? Who's gone through it's Vinay's face that was on the camera that said, we went through an intensive process to identify Frank. So therefore, I'm holding you accountable, because you're the one that's passed that message on when you said.
I hear you on that, but what I'm saying is, how much of a detrimental impact is the fans pointing their finger at the playing team and the squad and staff? How much is that having on the willingness of the players and the manager to like perform? I'm saying if the frustration was redirected towards the ownership, and then the players and the manager felt like that the fans were behind them, but that were angry and rightly so at the football club. Do you think that the fans are missing a trick? Essentially, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
point your fingers over here, and you'll get more out of the guys on the pitch.
Sean, it's all reactionary. It's all emotion. This is what I'm saying to you. It's all emotion driven. So 1 week we're bringing Van de Ven, but if he scores the equaliser in the game and he comes over, we're all clapping him. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Van de Ven. But then if he goes and if Romero has a howler, right, let's boo him. But then if he scores the equaliser against Burnley, right, he's our hero. Everything is knee-jerk reactionary, but the consistent thing that's happening is Frank is getting the vast majority of the stick bashed at him all day long.
But
so to answer your question, Sean, yes, the fans have, in my view, we are getting this wrong. Yes.
I actually think
agree with that.
I actually think, to add to what you're saying, Stel, is that the whole thing you've just said about the fans being reactionary is the exact reason why I believe that the fans are too reactionary over Thomas Frank, right, and the situation that's going on at Spurs right now, because there's far more bigger problems than just the manager right this minute. Like, and that's why when I see what I see, when I see what's going on, I don't expect much more than it. Maybe you could do a little bit more, but not that much. And that's why, like, I haven't exploded about what's going on with Tottenham as so many other people have. And you actually, do you know what? When you were saying something just a minute ago before I came on, you actually corrected yourself and said you were contradicting your own point, which I was going to put you in your place about that. But then you actually
wondering why you wanted to come on.
No, yeah, and then no, but you made it right. So I give you that.
Mate, you are the representation of a transfer strategy at Tottenham. I only want to come on. There's opportunity for me to mud
No, but no, it was interesting chat that you guys were saying. So I just, for me, like I was saying on Savage Show earlier, I just think that there's too much evidence for me from multiple managers over the years, even in the last 3 to 4 years, that it's the same kind of cycles that we've been going through over and over again. And I just don't think changing a manager right now is going to be the thing that's going to change our fortunes right now. There's so many caveats to whether or not it could be a good thing or a bad thing getting a manager bounce. But I think the reality is what a lot of people are probably concerned about is, where do we go if the manager goes? And on top of that, to me, I've been saying this for a long time. I don't care who the manager is. I think the biggest problem we have at this very moment in time is that we are severely lacking quality players to come in and do a job for whatever manager is in place. And for me, it doesn't matter who the manager is, which is why, like, when you've got players like Lookman out there right now, who you could get for 30 to 35 million pounds, it is beyond insanity that we're not even going to get him, because whoever the manager is, whether the Frank gets sacked now or gets sacked in the summertime, someone like Lookman can improve your squad right now, here and now. And this is I think the hardest thing for fans to understand is whether or not we're actually going to improve the squad in the right way in the last 2 days of the window. So if we don't, for me, again, it's another thing for Sean and Stel, that what me and Stel have been saying for so many years, that this club just does not and will not ever have a plan in place.
Unless Danny, they do have a plan and it hasn't quite gone to plan, and now they're thinking, shit, do we abandon the plan because we're on a massive decline, or do we continue with the plan because this is the toughest part of it? And I actually think they don't know what to do. I
think there's an idea. This is what I think. I think there's an idea in the back of their minds that they don't know what to do, so they're sticking with Frank. They haven't invested in the way that we thought they would in the January window, and I think it's pure. That part of that reason is because they don't know what to do, and I think in the back of their minds they've got this thing where Poch is there. He's flirting and twerking for the Tottenham job, and if Frank keeps us in the division, which I believe he will, right, then they've got the get out of jail free card and go and get Poch after the World Cup.
Yeah, but hold on. Is that the ambition of this season to stay in the division? Is that what? Is that
Well,
what this is about?
if they're not going to spend money,
Because Ange lost his job for the same thing.
What else? What else is? Yeah, but okay, well, it's an interesting point. But Tottenham, I don't think, faced relegation last season. By the time he gave up on the Premier League, we already had 33, 34 points.
Yeah, we were safe.
Yeah, this season I'm not. If we beat United, I know I got a hard time at the end of the Spurs 5 show by saying this, but I genuinely think that Manchester United there's all these false dawns at United. I think that Tottenham have got a fantastic record against United.
We're not going to beat United, Sean.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you might be right. It's the easier answer to pick on that one is we won't. But I think that United and City, we've got a hold over Manchester clubs for some reason.
Yeah, City, we've got a better chance.
Well, we beat United 5 times last season.
Different manager, different. Look at this year.
Yeah, but we've had
a terrible performance against what was a weak Man United under Amorim.
Yeah, but we've had a hold over Manchester City for 4 different managers. So like these.
I agree with Man City. I agree with the Man City one.
So why is Manchester United they're a weaker team? Why is the voodoo not necessarily the same for you?
Because I think Michael Carrick, it's not a bounce. He did this when he took over from Ollie. Go look at the way Middlesbrough played football. Basically, Michael Carrick is playing the football he played at Middlesbrough with a better group of players. He's good. Michael Carrick is good.
He's trying to play a possession base. He might be the guy that solves football, by the way, because if he can figure out, I've been saying this for a while, like football is dead. You know, this man-to-man press thing that's just like eradicating the value of zonal marking and possession-based football. Everyone's gone in this pivot towards Arteta-style Harambe. It's horrendous. But Carrick figured out a way to do it against City and to do it against Arsenal. So superb. I'm almost rooting for that because I want to see football become good fun again. And it's been horrendous for so long. However, you know, whether or not he can continue to do it, I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped points against Fulham on Saturday.
But Sean, what Carrick did was he did the 2 things that they should have been doing all season. One, he stopped playing that Amorim formation, which didn't work, and he put them in a 4-2-3-1, which is what probably suits their team, or maybe a 4-3-3. And he brought back Kobe Mainu in that midfield, who's a really good player. Amorim ostracized Mainu and was hell-bent on either a back 5 or a 3 that wasn't working for them. Sure. So Carrick's set them up differently to suit the players he's got. And the way they move the ball, just the 1-2 touch little patterns, there was none of that under Amorim. But that is Carrick. He did the same at Middlesbrough. Yes, he's got the players to do it as well. Yeah. But the fact is, he's doing it when Amorim wasn't. No, 100%. Man United team we're going to face isn't going to be the one they're going to be good when we play them.
Yeah, but I would rather play football against a team that I think Tottenham I would rather Tottenham play against a team that wants to play football than a team that wants to do this fucking bollocks. Bigger, stronger, faster, set piece FC, duels FC, win every duel. I'd rather Tottenham play against that United than the previous version of United. I genuinely would. I'm not saying it will work out. You might be right still. You might be right. But but Carrick is the first guy of the big 6 that's trying to move the needle back towards the old school version of football. And I'm happy to see it because if it works out for him, then everybody else will follow suit. And that, Danny, you've had a stroke. What are you doing?
It's like psychedelic. Do you know what though? The thing is, Sean, with Man United, the way they're playing now on the front foot, and they've got killers up front. If we go to Old Trafford and we go 1-0 down, we're in big trouble because this season we haven't come back to win any game when we've gone 1-0 down. Not a single game in the league. So they're going to come for us, and I think, look, we'll see after the game, right? At the end of the day, that's just one game, but
they've got to go to I've got to go to Fulham first, and then they've got to get a result there. And Fulham are 3 points off Champions League.
We need to get something from the City game first.
Yeah, 100% we do. Just before I bring you in, Box Office, good to see you, mate. It's been a while since you've been on the channel. There is a breaking story here from City AM. It's a free financial press, but it's important. It's worth looking at, and it says that Tottenham Hotspur are lobbying UEFA to increase the Champions League squad sizes after Thomas Frank was forced to drop Tel for the second time this season. Basically, the clubs that qualify for the Champions League knockout stages can make 3 changes to their squad before 5th of February, but not beyond the 25-man squad limit. A-list players born before 2004. If a club has fewer than 8 homegrown, yada, yada, yada. Tottenham's position has been influenced by their chronic injuries. Sporting director Johan Lang has raised the issue with other Premier League clubs in an attempt to garner more support, with Chelsea and Arsenal the most receptive so far. But rivals in Europe are opposed to move for fear of increasing the advantage conferred by England's
No one's going to
financial
help
power.
us. No one's going to help us.
It's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen in the. It's probably too late to happen. But I do think the rule is ridiculous. I think the rule is stupid that you get it doesn't matter how many injuries you have mid-season, you only get to make 3 changes. I think it's a fucking joke, isn't it?
Yeah, but clubs every year when they're sanctioned to play football, they all have to agree and sign off on the UEFA rules, the FA, and the Premier League rules. So that's at the AGM. That's when you are signing off on the rules. So we knew the rules before the season. So therefore, provide a squad to match the requirement of the rules.
Yeah, but you can only. It doesn't matter how big your squad. You can only have 25 men in your squad, and if 15 of them go out injured, you're fucked either way.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
The rules. These are the rules. Well, then improve your medical team, improve your training methods. Something fundamentally is wrong in our club when it comes to injuries.
Everything's fundamentally wrong, Stel.
Did you guys watch on Football Inc? Johnny and I had a guy on called Gary who was in the show earlier. Who works? He doesn't work for Tottenham, but he's always at the training ground. He works for a consultant, a contractor who provides medical consultancy.
That was a really good show, Sean.
And that is so insightful.
Really
right?
good show.
I was sort of dying to kind of go, well, what is it? What's tell me? And he was like, well, you know what? The people at Tottenham are some of the best medical guys in the game. And for what it's worth, those that have left have gone on to be like the Man City director of football for medical, or gone on to the LA Rams, the LA Dodgers, whatever else. Right? It's not because it's not the people. Like the people are experts, and some of them have gone on to bigger things. It's not them. He goes, it's not the technology. Right? We've got the very best in the game in terms of all of the different this, that, and the other. I said, okay, so so there must be something. There must be some anomaly. He said, well, every manager that comes in brings with them, with the exception of Ange came up by himself, but everybody else brings their own performance specialist in. And so when it comes to rehab and prehab, they all have
different methods.
Their own methods, right? Some of them like to do like wire-based resistance. Some of them like to do like free weights. Some of them do this, some of them do that. I was like, so you get a new manager in after 6 months or 18 months or whatever else, and then those players then get moved from doing this stuff to this stuff. I was like, surely that, and you might be training the same muscles, but surely if you've been on regimens, surely changing that might be a variable that adds a little bit of. Obviously, I'm not a physical trainer. I'm clearly not someone that knows a lot about physical health, but surely just the like if you're changing if someone else comes in with a new manager every single time, that to me is like the variable that should be moved, right? Like you should have a guy that's the club guy for that, and he is the guy that says no, regardless of who's the manager, you do this stuff in the rehab, because the manager's not responsible for that shit, is he? So
no, but didn't Gary say? Go on, Stel. Go on.
Do you know how I know you're right? Because AC Milan, many years ago, they would have players that would play into their late 30s. And they managed to get this longevity out of a player that no other club did. And the one consistent was the way they worked with the players, no matter who they were, it was the exact same process. Every time, no matter who the
regardless
manager,
of the manager, right? So the manager comes in with his own tactics, but the same performance guy, the same rehab guy, right? That to me, I'm sitting there going, that's obvious. I don't know anything about physical health.
They basically
seem like a variable.
They basically came up with this formula.
Why this is happening.
It's hold on, Alex. Just one point on this, Sean. Didn't Gary say as well that that it's different because when you're changing managers, you're changing. You've got their own medical guys or their own physios and people like that to help them.
They bring their own performance guys.
Yeah, those performance guys because it helps them. They're more attuned to what the manager's tactics and systems and philosophies are, right? But I think what he was saying, from what I understood, was that when you're changing that constantly, you're changing the different way you shock the body differently. So there are different.
Well, he wasn't saying that. I was asking, I was like, doesn't that sound like it's a variable? That
It
if
is
you've had
definitely
18
a
months of
variable.
Ange, and then suddenly Thomas Frank comes
It's
in, and there's a new geezer that says,
Sean.
no, now you're not warming down like this. Now you're
No,
warming down like
it's
that.
It's the
That's
same when you're.
Maldini, Cafu, Georgie Weah. There's many players.
But
They
still-
played late into their 30s, and I remember the doc, because you know in Italy the doctor does the match interviews with the manager. He comes out and talks about the medical, and I remember him saying, "We've got a formula. It's taken us years. Everyone goes through the same process, and it just keeps the players going."
So what's the Italian system? What's the Italian system? What's the Italian system, right? Compared to England at the moment, what do they do? What is the main? Who's the main guy in the Italian system? Who's the main person in the Italian
system for what? System for what?
So who's the main guy? So you've got the chief executive maybe, and then the director of football, yeah, and then you have the coach. So who's the main guy? Just ask the question.
You mean the structure of the club?
Structure of the club, yeah.
Well, isn't it like us, a CEO?
No.
Or an owner?
No, it's the director of football, isn't it? They're the main people, aren't they?
I don't know.
They're the main people, aren't they? Because they're the ones that have the structure. They're the ones that ultimately are in charge, right? And they say...
At Juventus, when you had a Paratici over there, you had Pavel Nedved.
Yeah.
And you had... Pavel Nedved was also caught up in all the shenanigans.
Wasn't Monchi there as well?
Exactly. So my point is, you're saying it's changing every single time because we're getting a manager in, yeah? All right. Well, we know why there's a problem.
Just on the specific side
of
the
medical.
So if you're saying we're changing them because of medical, right? Because of the different types of managers we're getting in, right? That wouldn't happen if you have a main director of football there and you just have coaches. No, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah. No, because it's the same concept, Alex, is when you're training, right? So whether you're training for losing fat or gaining muscle mass, right? When you're consistently doing the same routines and eating the same things over and over again, it will get to a point where your body is used to it, right? So you have to do something different to shock your body. You have to change your diet a little bit. You have to start doing a few different exercises. That's how you shock the body, right? It's the same thing but what I understand is that when you're doing that way too much and you've got one guy who's pragmatic and playing a completely different style of football, right? Then you've got Ange who comes in, who's got a high line, high press type of football. Then you've got someone else coming in and they're doing different things all the time. It's causing I believe that's also part of why why we're getting
I don't know. I'm just saying that to me, the notion of like I never even heard the word before, prehab. It's not rehab, it's prehab. It's like preparing the body before there's an injury or whatever by doing this kind of he was talking about this red zone stuff where like when you see the players that are like doing the sprints after the game, or like even players that don't play, like the goalkeeper, Brandon Austin, but he doesn't play a minute, right? So he gets warmed up. After the game, he sits there on this like weird bike that has the arms that does this thing as well.
Yeah, it's called a warm down, Sean. It's called a warm down.
Right, but he smashes his body till he gets to certain zones on the heart monitors or whatever, so that he's basically done a full workout, so that his body is continuing to be tuned to the same sort of degree. It's too much for my. I've got no idea, but he's basically saying that at the end of every training session, they do their passing, their kicking, their running, whatever else, and then they have to do certain routines. And every manager seems to come in, with the exception of Ange Postecoglou, they all come in with their own performance guy who structures what that thing looks like. And they will all have their own different version of what that looks like. They might all be targeting the same muscles and achieving the same thing, but the way that they do it is slightly different. Some of them will use like free weights, whereas some of them will use like the kind of resistance things, like when you're pulling down ropes or whatever. And so all of that, I'm like, so that to me just seems like you might be working your triceps or your chest or your thighs or your hamstrings, but the method in which you're doing it is different. And if you change manager, surely your body, like if you could do the same thing, if you were doing the same thing with free weights and you didn't need resistance bars, then resistance bars would never have been invented. Right? If it's just another thing doing the same thing, but there must be slight differences, and therefore, if you're changing the guy every 5 minutes, then that might also be a reason why we have more injuries. No,
Completely agree.
I don't agree with this. I think it's down to the fact that we haven't got a structure that is ultimate, basically.
That's what Sean's saying.
Set in stone, right? Okay, and no, because you're going on about medical and all that stuff, and for me, right, if you have a structure, right, and all this medical stuff, which again, I don't really want to get, I don't want to get involved in that.
Injuries is a medical thing.
Yeah, but I'm not going into that. I'm just saying at the moment, if they had the structure in place, right, saying this is the director of football, this is what we want to do, this is the identity, these are the people that we're going to be working with, right? Okay, Danny, stop that, mate. It's just getting annoying, bruv. You know what I mean? And then the structure. Danny, stop doing that, mate. And then they stick with that structure and the medical staff, and that's it, right? And you just have to either want the coaches to come in, or just have the manager that comes in, and you stick with that manager, and stick with their medical staff. That, you know, you don't have that problem. You see what I'm saying?
That's basically what Sean was saying. He's saying that because we change it so much, that's part of the problem.
Well, that's what I'm similarly saying as well.
But that's exactly what he said, just in another way. That's all.
So why is it that this guy can go on Sean and Johnny's show, identify potential reasons as to why we've got injuries, but no one in the football club can identify what's
to be fair to him, he wasn't saying this is a cause, or he was just explaining how it works. And I was saying, doesn't that to me, if you're telling me, I'm asking you why it is that there's like a ridiculous amount of injuries all the time at Tottenham, regardless of who's in charge, and you're saying it's not the people are the very best, and those that have left have gone on to do better things. If you're telling me that it's not the instruments in which we use, because we have the best MRI, the best hydrochloric chambers of this and that, and we've got the very world's best machines. We imported all of this shit from NFL level stuff. If you've got the very best machinery, you've got the very best people, I said it must be something. I said, is it the pitch? Is it potentially the pitch? And he actually said, well, I didn't know this, but he said that our grass on the training ground and the stadium is the same, but they're woven with some sort of synthetic fiber. So there's the grass that grows, but it's also woven with something synthetic. And I said, is that common? And he said, it's in some stadiums, not others. I said, well, that might be an issue. I said, could it be the fact that there's like 2 feet below our surface, there is like a big fucking giant metal, infrastructure to replace the stadium? I said, could it be the fact that when people are taking corner kicks or throw-ins that they have to walk up about 4 foot?
Yeah, but Sean, we never had this until the last 2-3 years when we had Poch.
Oh, but he also said though, didn't he say, Sean, that the grass at White Hart Lane had the same thing as well?
Yeah, the grass at White Lane has got synthetic weaving.
It's not the pitch because it never happened on the Conte. Never happened on
exactly. Exactly right. He said it's not that. He said it's more. It's common like that. The synthetic weave along grass is common. So I was like, so it's not the pitch. So it's not the people. It's not the lack of decent machinery. There must be a variable. There must be a variable.
It's a combination.
He said it's the fact that they come in with new managers. And I was like, maybe that's a variable. The fact that you're chopping and changing what the prehab looks like.
It's a combination. It's a combination of things. It's a little bit of bad luck. It's a bit of what you guys, what we've just discussed, the chopping and changing of the performance coaching and the method. It's a bit of rushing players back too soon when we know they're not quite ready.
Yeah.
And when you can see a player's limping, take him off. But we seem to say, no, go on, carry on. When we know they've already just had an injury, and then we're aggravating it. So I think it's a combination of things.
I think
I said, why is it that a player's down injured, like Matt Doherty at Villa, right? He gets absolutely chopped down by Matty Cash, and then gets up, goes back down again, gets up, tries to play on for 2 more minutes, then he's out for 4 months. Dejan Kulusevski, what happened to him with his shattered kneecap, and they made him do jumping jacks on the side of the pitch? Radu Dragusin, the same thing with an ACL, and Berghvall most recently. And I said, is it like the tail wagging the dog? Like who's supposed to be asking who? Shouldn't the people that are supposed to be the medical experts say, get off the pitch? And he was like, obviously that comes down at some point you have to listen to the patient a little bit. And but I was like, yeah, but the patient's going to be saying, i.e., the player's going to be saying, I don't want to come off. I want to stay on because I know my place is under threat. But at some point, you have to take charge of that situation. But
Rio Ferdinand, he was on the treatment table at Man United, and Alex Ferguson. It was in his book. Alex Ferguson went into the physio's office and said, "Is he fit to play?" He goes, "Yeah, we're going to pass him." And he said to the physio,
"Who's available?"
He goes, "I need you to tell him that he's not quite there. Tell him he'll be ready for the game after." He goes, "Yeah, but that's a lie." He goes, "Yeah, you need to lie. I'm the manager of Man United. You need to do this for me." He goes, "Yeah, but it's against what?" I goes, "Mate, do you want to stay at Man United?" He goes, "Just do this one thing. He's going to play." And he did it on purpose because the manager, wanted Rio to have that extra rest because he really wanted him for the game after more. And he didn't want to risk it.
That's fine that way. That's fine that way. But what about if it's the other way? What about if it's the manager saying to the doctor, "Is he ready?" And the doctor says, "No." And he says, "Well, I need you to tell the player that he's ready."
And they can't do that. That they can't do.
I'm sure it happens, mate. Have you seen Any Given Sunday, the American football film?
Yeah, but we're not America. They don't have rules in America.
Just give him a jab. Put a jab in the back of his neck. That'll numb him up. He'll be fine.
But Sean, didn't he also?
Yeah, it probably does happen, Sean. It probably does happen.
Didn't he also mention there's certain managers who won't look at metrics, and there's certain managers who will judge themselves, and there's certain managers who actually rush players back because they haven't got a choice, because they haven't got any other players available. So that's also this is why it's such a systemic problem at Spurs, because everything is affecting everything at Spurs. Like whether it's if a manager's rushing back a player, the reason why he's rushing back a player is because we haven't got the depth in the squad. And that why we haven't got the depth in the squad is because the owners are not investing properly.
When Ange Postecoglou rushed back Micky, Van der Ven and Romero,
yeah.
Was that and let's play hypothetical.
It's probably a bit both, isn't it?
Was that the doctor saying he's not ready and Ange saying he needs to be? Because I'm fucked. It's Chelsea. I need a strong team, or was it Ange saying, "Is he ready?" And the doctor said, "If you need him, he's ready."
Yeah. Or it could also be
Ange Postecoglou got the mud thrown at him from the media, from the fans. Everyone went, "That's Ange Postecoglou and his bloody training methods," and yet no one said actually the
difference. Passing a fitness test to be eligible to play is one thing. Being able to make the movements required in a game of football when someone's trying to knock you off the ball is completely different. They're two different.
But I think it was different. I find it hard to talk about these medical things. I'm not a medical person, but the only thing I would say is about Van der Ven, though. Right. The only thing I would say about Van der Ven,
disclaimer.
Yeah, but because I can't really talk about it because I'm not really a medical person. But the point with Van der Ven, I think for me, I was concerned whenever he was running back that I could see that his hamstring was always going to tick anyway. Now this season, though, it's different for some reason because I think the way that he's playing now, he doesn't have that we don't have that worry at the moment. But for the last 2 years, when he was playing for Ange Postecoglou, you could always sense his hamstring was always going to tick. You always knew it. You always knew it was going to it was just a matter of time. It was going to tick because I think he was just speeding every single time. But I think this time, I think it's just for some reason these players at the moment, especially at the back, they haven't done it. They haven't really got themselves injured. It's only now Romero's got himself injured, maybe because he hit the bloody cording board when he scored that equalising goal against Burnley. But that was him being silly. You know what I mean? But the other injuries, all I would say is I think it is what it is at the moment. We have this, we just got to deal with the squad, and that's it really for me. And what happens between the medical staff and the player and the manager? I mean, I know your example of Alex Ferguson, and that's quite a good example, but Alex Ferguson had that credence because of what he was as a manager. You know what I mean? So he was ultimately the main guy at Manchester United. You know what I mean? Because of what he achieved.
Alex, the one thing as well with Alex Ferguson is that he had like what AC Milan had. He had that structure in place, and anyone who came in had to follow that structure. It wasn't
exactly. That's the point I've been making.
They didn't chop and change based on different people coming into the club. They had their set way, and whoever came into the club had to abide by that set way because that's what worked.
Yeah, exactly. So it's exactly what I'm saying to my point. My point.
I also think with the way football has become a science, when it comes to training, that players are being pushed to the absolute limits of human capability at the moment, to the finest kind of metric
that's why football's
possible.
rubbish. Let's be honest here. That's why.
Well, no, I'm talking about in terms of athleticism.
Yeah, no, that's why
they've been pushed to the
that's why
absolute
football's not
brink.
been great this season. That's why football's not been great this season.
Because
the only game, the last game, I think the last game against Manchester
That's down to
United
managers and the way they go about it.
I think the last game that was actually very good was that I've seen is Arsenal versus Manchester United. I thought that was actually a fantastic game to watch, an advert for football. You know what I mean? Even though I don't like the way Arsenal play at all, I think they're boring. But I think athletically, I think that's what's making the game how it is at the moment, and that's why you're seeing the physical injuries and what you're seeing at the moment, because it's very physical.
Well, it adds on to what Stel was saying, Alex, that the way modern football is now, it's a lot of it is focused on the physical aspects of the game, the physicality, the athleticism. Yeah, that's exactly it. Why is it that we sit here talking? I know you said it as well, Sean, how we have to look at, we haven't got any players that kind of fit the modern day Premier League footballer, like especially in midfield. All of our midfielders are weak. They're slow. We don't have anyone powerful in the midfield. Yeah. Anyone quick. Same for the wingers. We haven't got any.
If we can survive through this season, I think I agree with what Stel was saying about Michael Carrick. I think he threw caution to the wind and tried to play around Arsenal. For what it's worth, though, right? If you look at the comparisons of like the Premier League versus the European Champions League, for example, right? Yeah. There's different styles of football that are engaged. Yep. European football is more open. It's less about the kind of rigmarole of like bigger, stronger, faster, and you get better results. However, Arsenal are top of the Premier League playing handball, and they're top of they're undefeated in the Champions League as well. So they're capable of doing both. Michael Carrick threw caution to the wind and allowed them to play the XG game, like dismiss the XG thing. Because all the XG stat nerds say you don't take a shot from outside the box because it's low XG, don't do it, better the pass coming in the box, all that bollocks, right? Ruining the game. Carrick said, no, do your thing. And it worked out. I hope it's the start of the trend back. And this is the problem with Tottenham, is I feel like we're late to the party of trying to catch up to the bigger, stronger, faster thing. And if we're now just identifying profiles of players, excuse me, that are trying to play to that model where you just go and get 6'2", Joel Linton type boys that aren't necessarily great technically, and then all of a sudden, once you finally built that squad ready for the bigger, stronger, faster thing, all of a sudden, if the pendulum swung back the other way, then you're stuck with another bunch of square pegs and round holes. Yep. Which is it's a problem.
Do you know who doesn't care about metrics and data as much, and who's proven you don't need lots and lots and lots of good players? You just need a philosophy and a way of coaching that you believe in, that you can translate to your players and develop them, and you can get results, and you can outperform everyone. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing him as a Spurs manager. You know which team does it?
Iriola.
Bodo Glimt, mate. That club,
right?
The way they play football, the way the players have been developed, the way they've taken so many good teams apart in the last 3-4 years. That is the perfect example of what football can be like without superstars. They are fantastic.
They don't do it away from home, though. They're terrible away from home in Europe, but they're very good at home.
They are, but they've got something about them.
For me at the moment, and then until
Alex, can I just add one point very quickly?
Danny, you look like a fucking cycling helmet.
I love Danny, but when he does this, I'm like, oh.
He looks like that alien thing I had on my wall at university. when I used to have a lava lamp and stuff like that.
I was listening to what they were saying in the last Bodo Glimt game, and they've got this the guy who's a mental health coach, right? His name's Bjorn Mansverk, I think it is, and he was a former Norwegian fighter pilot. And he helps them. He was hired to basically help them build their mental resilience, their confidence.
Our fan base needs him.
I think our players need something like that, and he helped them transform them from the relegation candidates to a consistent top tier team. And I think that is such an essential part.
The way they play football, though, the way they play.
I know, but still, but what I'm trying. I know, but you know this as a coach, still, right? The game and everything is about mental health. It's about the mental capacity, right? So if your players are not scared by playing at home in front of 60,000 fans, and they can play with freedom, right? then they can perform to their highest level. It's all about
psychology has always been the number one area
100%.
in coaching, all sports, in the corners of sport that any coach has to go through to become a coach. Psychology is the number one.
Still.
If you master that, you're ahead of everyone.
But this is exactly why, Stel, I think what Spurs need is
that's why Ange won a trophy. It's all psychological.
Yeah, it's all psychological. I get that. Like in the knockout tournament, he even said it himself that he plays a different way and he does things differently in a knockout tournament. But I think like if you want to build that consistency with the mentality as well, I think you need someone who needs to come into this club who's maybe a specially trained like ex-military person or Air Force person or Marine or someone like that who can drill them into how they can, in terms from the mental side of the game, right? Because I think nowadays with like social media, it's more heightened than ever. You're in the face of the you're in the face of public eye more than ever before. So like if a young player like say Archie Gray or whoever has a bad game, they're gonna get DMs about death threats. They're gonna get all sorts of shit, right? Like they always do. They get the words named thrown at them and called out and all this shit. So it's a lot of things to deal with when you know that the public perception of you, if you have a bad game, is not very good. So then it puts more pressure on these players. More stress, more pressure,
100%.
So you know, the academy players are taught to deal with that. They teach that to the academy players. There's a lot of psychological things they work with in the play.
Why don't they ban social media?
That's a good point.
I know it's a difficult thing, but like it's seriously encourage them. Guys, if you want to sign a contract with us, you know, we'd appreciate it if your management dealt with your social media team and you don't have a personal Instagram account that you have access to, because all you're going to get is hate.
Because you'll get sued by a human rights lawyer.
Oh, yeah, true.
I'm being honest with you. I think we're waffling here. I do think we're waffling here. If I'm really honest with you, I think we're waffling here a little bit here, because for me, and again, I'm not going to get into what you just said, Danny, because that's not where we're going there. My point is, at the moment, I think we just need to focus on just being safe this season. That's all I think we need to worry about at the moment. I'm not worried about Tel having a little bit of feel sorry for himself because he's not in the team. Sorry. Well, Dalmat didn't get into the team how many years ago, and look what we did with him. You know what I mean? I'm not hearing anything about our team.
Dalmat.
I'm done. I'm fed up. I'm just fed up hearing.
Can always rely on box office to bring up an irrelevant player from the past.
We are in massive trouble. And by the way, Sean, I do give you credit. Right, and Stelios, I do respect you. I love you because you know you've been there for a long time.
Well, I don't feel you're about to praise Sean and cuss me.
But I will say this: you did stick up for Daniel Levy. You stuck up for Daniel Levy, right? And I have to big up Mia as well. And Jay. I have to big up them as well because I've argued with them for years now, and they stuck.
What are you about to say
as well?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
But I will say this, right? You're right about Daniel Levy. Right, he got a lot of what is it?
Alex, you came to the Levy out protest.
No, but I've got to say it. No, because
my dog Bugsy had death threats. People sent me messages saying, "Butler, you're a fucking disgrace." But I hope your dog.
Danny, stop doing that.
Alex, people said to me, "I hope your dog gets run over by a truck."
That's fun.
But I'm gonna be saying no. The reason why I'm saying, let me finish. The reason why I'm saying at the moment, right?
Alex, do you want to leave me back?
Hotspur, let me make my point. Let me land, and then you can come back at me.
No,
right?
fair enough.
The reason why I'm saying this at the moment, right? When Daniel Levy left, you would think when you leave a job, right? When you leave a job, what happens? That's the most important person. You think, you know what? We need to make sure we know what that person does as ultimately, what is his role? What is his roles? What's his duties that he has to do? So you have to delegate those duties. So at least though you know what duties he had that he was doing on a day-to-day basis, right?
Is this the envelope Sean gave you?
No, let me finish my point. If you actually listen to my point, so if you have right, somebody that's very important, that's had all these roles and duties that they've been doing for years and years and years and years and years, right? And you're going to let go of that person. You would think, rather than just underhanding him and messing yourself up in the process, you think, you know what? Let's just find out what Daniel Levy actually does first. You know what I mean? Get all the things that he does and make sure you understand what important roles he does. So when he goes, you can delegate those roles to certain people that are good at those sort of certain things as well. What we've done is, right? That they underhanded him, Daniel Levy, right? Got him out and said to the fans, yes, we're going to go. We're going to really go for it now. We're going to go on all fronts and we're going to go for the Champions League. We're going to go for the Premier League. We're going to show ambition. Next day, they're thinking, oh, we've got to do something now. Oh, damn. Oh, okay, yeah, Johan Lang, you've got to do this. Oh yeah. Finite, you've got to be the main guy now. Yeah, Charrington, you've got to be the chairman now.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Basically, before you throw him under the bus and get rid of him, make sure you've got people in place to take on his jobs. And we didn't do that because it clearly looks like we've gone backwards and we're more of a mess now since Levy's gone. Yeah,
exactly.
I hear you, man.
Exactly.
That's what I was saying. I never defended the Enoch. I never defended Enoch. I defended Daniel Levy. I always thought he was thrown under the bus, but. It is what it is. It is what it is. Danny, you keep changing your...
Alex, hold on. Can I just say then, are you saying to me that if we'd kept Levy, this wouldn't be happening to us right now?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
On the 17th with Levy.
Decision making at the moment. And
on the 17th with Levy.
We'd have more people. We'd have better players in the squad. We'd have done more in January right now because Daniel Levy will be aware of the situation.
But Lange and Paratici was Levy's work. He got them in.
No, but Daniel Levy is the person who's got to sign the checks at the moment. Have you heard this? That this guy called Nick fucking Butcher, who's like the son-in-law of Vivian Lewis,
man who's dating one of the Lewis kids or whatever. I don't know.
The son-in-law of Vivian Lewis. He's the one that has to sign off on the fucking checks. So Vinay hasn't even got the permission to write the checks. It's a joke. And this guy, Nick Butcher, doesn't know anything about Tottenham. At least Daniel Levy knew Tottenham. At least he knew the situation. He might have been a cop block on many things. He might have been a bottleneck on.
So can I ask you guys? In a
Alex was Levy out until Levy went, and now he's Levy. Bring Levy back.
Just bring Levy back.
James, she'll get the guitar. Get out.
Oh, look at this.
I love it. You gotta sing it, Sean. Bring him back.
I guess now it's time that you brought Levy back for good.
Mate, look at this.
Director of football, though. You start with the director of football because the director of football. This is the thing. We need leaders behind the scenes.
What would Daniel Levy have done differently this year? Can someone hypothetically? What would he have done differently?
He would have not let this sham go on right now. He would have got Mason in charge. He was a sacked.
Mason.
Mate,
Alex,
that
is ridiculous. He would not.
Oh
he would not
my
put up with this.
fucking days!
Because at the moment,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you think Mason
I've been
would be the
Spurs
guy
fans
to
saying
solve the
Alonso
issue?
in charge.
I'm glad Levy's not here. If Mason would have come in, I'm glad, and I'm Frank out.
By the way, I'm not co-signing that one, Alex. No chance.
Okay. So at the moment,
we were in the same pocket for about 10 seconds.
But Sean, okay. So let me ask a question. Then, yeah. We lose against Man City. We lose the next game. I think it's against Newcastle.
God.
Right? Lose against game against Newcastle because I think this game against Frankfurt we're going to win, right? Or we will get through, right? Okay, so we lose the game against Man City, right? We lose the next game against Newcastle, wherever it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then when do we have the derby? 28th,
22nd.
22nd. Then we lose the derby. What do we do then? We're going to keep Frank then?
No, that's when we get Ryan Mason.
Oh!
He's joking.
Oh my god!
To reality. That's what I've got to say. Yeah. Cool.
Alex, you totally missed that one, didn't you? You just totally missed it.
Over your head. Guys, listen, I've got 5 super chats I've got to do. I've got my dinners downstairs, and we're back at 7:15 around that time for the watch along. Let Let me just quickly do these ones. Henry Wrong TV says, Stel, sign one. Werner or Mwani?
Timo Werner, man. Timo Werner.
No. Werner.
No, on the wing, Werner. In the 10, Mwani. Up front, none of them. None of them up front. Not a single one.
Timo Werner had gas for days, bro. Like he just if only he could have like calmed down.
Goosebumps.
Big up to Dino, Chudini. Big up to you, mate. Always here, always supporting. Appreciate you very much, mate. Choo to you, buddy. Love you, my man. Thank you so much. Really, really lovely one from Sunila. Big up to you, mate. He says, afternoon, guys. Hope you are ready for a roller coaster month. I'm hoping for a roller coaster 3 days, mate. I want to see Danny, mate. Every time I look back at the screen, you've changed. It's so weird. Big up to you, Sunila. Thank you very much, mate. Super chat, man. Thank you very much, man. Really, really generous, buddy. That means the world, man. Makes all the shows, those sorts of things, and make them really worthwhile, man. Appreciate it so much. Rob Brown has said, do any of our fresher injuries qualify for changes? No. Like, we are where we are, and that's that whole point about that City AM thing. They're scrambling, trying to beg the UEFA to change the rules, which is never going to happen. I don't think the rules are fit for purpose, but we've got an unbelievable amount of injuries. Big up to you, Rob. Thank you very much. And Eamon O'Shea says Chelsea sacked their doctor because she said no. No means no. No means no. That's the rule, right? You got to respect the girl's wishes. And but apparently Chelsea said no to her because she said no to a player. She was a cutie as well. She was a cutie. If you know, you know. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much indeed. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. We got to drop out. I've got to go and get some dinner. I'll be back in an hour and a half or whatever for the watch along. I know other watch alongs will be on before me, but I'll be on about 7:15, something like that. So if you want to come and we'll do some more guitar work, we'll do some more shit, and we got the game, the watch along, and then we got the post match fan show. So make sure you dial into that. Big up to you, Danny K. Big up to you,
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Big up to Stel. Anything coming up on your channels this evening, guys?
I'm retirement.
You're retiring, box office. Are you retiring?
He's got his money from you, so he's.
I guess now it's time.
Want you back for good.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just I'm bored of saying the same thing. I've been saying it for the last 5 years, 6 years. Best worst bang average top 5 is coming soon as well, though.
Best worst bang average top 5.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Alex? Do you know how many people say bang average now because of you? I hear it all the time. Everyone says bang average.
I always reference the box office rate, the spectrum of box office, which is if someone is amazing in box office languages, he's okay. He's okay. And if someone is terrible, he's bang average. So basically, you've gone from bang average to okay. That is the spectrum in which every player operates. Okay to bang average. I love you, box office. Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare retire. Listen, blow my cannon, mate. I want to be your brother-in-law, my man, because your sister is a smoke shilly show. Okay?
Oh, my God.
I doubt it's you. I reckon you've just gone and found two models, a model-looking bloke and a model-looking bird. Because if it's actually you, then you're a good-looking geezer. But your bird is your sister is punchy. I mean, punching, and I mean, I'll be punching if I can get hold of her.
Well, I've got to go gym. Man. I'll speak to you later, man.
See you later, Boxy. Take care,
mate.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye,
all right, guys. We're gonna go as well. Stel, big up to Stel. Spurs Corner. You can find him. Here is the link. Make sure there's still 1,200 people here. 1 second. YouTube.com/. Is it the Spurs Corner or Spurs Corner?
Spurs Corner. Spurs Corner TV, I think it is. I don't even know.
Oh, I think it's Spurs Corner. Guys, yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. I put it in before. Please hit that link, subscribe to Stel. Appreciate Stel for coming on, mate. Good chat, mate. Great chat. Yeah, the Watch Along Destiny is coming up in an hour. So we're going to have something to eat and I'll come on and do that one. And we're
going to make Spurs great again.
Quite a team. Best team ever.
Jesus. going on?
What are we doing here? Love you all. Nice one. See you later on the watch along. Take care, guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Bye.
Come on, Tottenham.